Hello everyone. So today we are talking about what we are going to talk about now is about the personalities, great personalities. And today we are going to talk about one of the greatest personalities in political history, that is Abraham Lincoln. And so let's start it and let's begin. So Abraham Lincoln was also called the Honest Abe, the real splitter or the great emancipator, and at the same time a natural gentleman. He is also known as the Father Abraham, the wielder of authority, the supporter of the weak, and he is an equal, a neighbor, a friend. Abraham Lincoln is generally considered the greatest president in the history of United States. He was the 16th president of United States of America from 1861 to 65, who preserved the Union during the American Civil War and brought about emancipation of slaves. Among American heroes, Lincoln continues to have unique appeal for his countrymen and also for the people of other lands. His relevance endures and grows, especially because of his eloquence as a spokesman of the democracy. In his view, the Union was worth saving, not only for its own sake, but also because it embodied the ideals of the self-government, which was of the interest to the people of the entire world. Lincoln was born on February 12, 1809, into a poor family of Kentucky, United States of America. His father, Thomas Lincoln, was a farmer. Lincoln's early life was full of hardships. He was a bright student but could not study much for a lack of means. He used to walk 2 miles to school house, where he learned the rudiments of reading, writing, and arithmetic. However, the young Lincoln had not read a large number of books but thoroughly comprehended the few that he did read. These included Parson Weems' Life and Memorable Actions of George Washington, Robinson Crusoe, Pilgrim's Progress, and Aesop's Fables. The unhappiest period of his boyhood followed the death of his mother in 1880. Fortunately, before the onset of the second winter, Thomas Lincoln brought home a second wife, a widow with 3 children. Abraham learned to love her and in later years referred to her as my angel mother. In 1830, the Lincoln family moved to Illinois. In Illinois, having no desire to work as a farmer, Lincoln tried his hand at a variety of occupations. As a real splitter, he helped to clear and fence his father's new farm. As a flat boatsman, he made a voyage down Mississippi River to New Orleans and on his return settled in New Salem. There he worked for time to time as a storekeeper, postmaster, and surveyor. With the coming of Black Hawk War 1832, he enlisted as a volunteer and was elected captain of his company. Meanwhile, he considered blacksmithing as trade but finally decided in favor of law. In 1836, Lincoln qualified himself to be a lawyer. Of humble origin, Lincoln was a self-educated lawyer in Frontier, Illinois in 1830s and 50s. In 1842, he married Mary Todd, who bore him 4 children. Before he began to be prominent in national politics, Lincoln had made himself one of the most distinguished and successful lawyers in Illinois. He was noted not only for his shrewdness and practical common sense, which enabled him always to see to the numb of any legal case, but also for his invariable fairness and utter honesty. Lincoln did not, however, neglect politics, and in 1946 he was elected to the US Congress. After serving a term in Congress from 1847 to 49, Lincoln became a Republican in 1856. 2 years later, he was engaged in a series of debates with Stephen A. Douglas in an attempt to gain Douglas' seat in the United States Senate. Despite his defeat at the polls, the debate made him nationally known figure. Abraham Lincoln was elected to the presidency in 1860 as a candidate of the Republican Party. He selected his cabinet. It was a strange group chosen with aim of representing all elements of in the party. The skill with which Lincoln taught each of his men, and he was their master and secured maximum service from them, is one of the marks of his greatness. His period as a president was wholly taken up with the war against the secessionist southern states, who were predominantly agricultural and wanted to retain slavery as they considered it necessary for their country, while the northern states, with an industrial economy, were in favor of the abolition of slavery. Thus, the whole country was bitterly divided over the question of abolition of slavery. The southern states had also formed a separate confederation and provoked the northern states to engage into armed conflict. Though Lincoln's primary aim was neither to provoke war nor to maintain peace, but ultimately he decided that war has become necessary for keeping the country united and abolition of slavery. So America was engulfed in civil war that lasted for about 4 years. In the end of the southern states were decisively defeated. Thus Lincoln proclaimed the slaves in the rebellious state free in 1863. On the strength of hard work, irreproachable characters, and determination, he rose to become president of the United States of America. Lincoln was assassinated by an insane actor while watching a theatrical performance in Washington, D.C., just days after the Union victory in 1865. The two historically achievements of Lincoln as a president that made him so great were the abolition of abominable system of slavery and preservation of unity and integrity of his country. American thought of him as a martyr. The assassination had occurred on Good Friday and on the following Sunday, memorable as Black Easter. Hundreds of speakers found a sermon in the event. Some of them saw more than mere chance in the fact that Assassination Day was also Crucifixion Day. On declared Jesus Christ died for the world, Abraham Lincoln died for his country. Thus, the posthumous growth of his reputation was influenced by the timing and circumstances on his death, which won for him a kind of sainthood. You can fool all the people some of the time, and some of all the people all the time, but you cannot fool all the people all the time. Abraham Lincoln. Thank you.